Brian Ortega versus Alexander Volkanovski, UFC 266. Hello, fight fans of MMA-INSIDE. Today we bring it to you all, the series of events happening before the ultimate featherweight clash between Brian Ortega and Alexander Volkanovski. Before we begin the story of these Spartans, make sure to subscribe to our channel and press the notification bell so you never miss an update. Controversies. Ortega and Volkanovski have been brilliant featherweights in recent times. With controversies fuming ahead of UFC 266, some serious words were exchanged. UFC featherweight champ Volkanovski was seen getting heated up against Brian Ortega. A clip released by ESPN SportsCenter confirms it. Alexander said, "You thought you were the man? You thought you were the man when you were winning and now things aren't going well, and you're trying to play it all cool so I don't rub it in?" Ortega was seen replying to the champion with a series of insults.
Hard to feed off someone who has weak energy.
"You have no comebacks. Hard to feed off someone who has weak energy," said Ortega, further infuriating the featherweight champion. "In person, you don't give that same energy," said Ortega. Volkanovski was quick to point out the fact and said, "Mate, I called you a piece of shit to your face and you did nothing. What are you talking about?"
Come back to you, baby. Here we go.
To which Ortega responded,
You said, "Hey bro, don't be afraid to talk."
"I told you to shut the F up, bitch, and you did nothing about it." The UFC featherweight will be competing against Ortega to defend his title on UFC 266 at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. This will be his second title defense, following the win against Max Holloway, the one he escaped the title from in 2019.
10-punch combo for Max.
Eyes are on Ortega, as he is well prepared and looking forward to dethrone Volkanovski.
Brian Ortega is a problem for everyone.
It is Ortega's second title shot since the loss to the then UFC champion Max Holloway. Ortega was also seen condemning the victory of Volkanovski, saying it was a win by manipulation. About a year ago, in the rematch with Holloway, Volkanovski won again.
Alexander Volkanovski, the first Australian-born UFC champion and the force to be reckoned with.
In an interview with MMA Weekly, Ortega voiced his opinion on upcoming fight against the champ. As he was asked what he'd learned from the pair of fights of Holloway against Volkanovski. "Well, I mean, I took things from both sides if you look at it. You know, I look at Max's, kind of how he kept the same pace and the same routine that he always has. And then I looked at Volkanovski and the different strategies that he did, as in terms of how to win a round, how to manipulate the judges' right decisions. When it comes to being in there, right? You go in there and how do you win rounds? That's something that hasn't been really a big factor for neither Max's nor my career. We are two people who fight for the finish. And then when you take a guy like Volkanovski, who's a decision fighter, then you go, okay, this guy is looking for the decision. If he gets a finish, he'll take it, but that's not his go-to.
I'm gonna stay champion for a long time.
So the main thing was, all right, study Max. See what he did wrong. What can you take from Volkanovski that you can do to him? And then look at Max and say, what did Volkanovski do to him that you don't want to do because you're in the same realm, the same type of mentality where you go in there and you want to finish guys?
Shall we run up the best?
We don't.
Decision game. I go in there and I get in your face and I want to bang it out.
I don't play the decision game. I go in there and I get in your face and I want to bang it out and see which man's will breaks. But there's levels to this game, and you gotta realize you have to dance according to the music. And that's who you're fighting, you know? You gotta look at the way they move, the way they fight, and you have to beat the way they fight. Sometimes it's possible that you don't get a finish because you have to fight so smart.
Ortega, ladies and gentlemen.
It's such a high-level chess game that you can't bring that side out of you. That's why I've been looking at other fights outside of my range, talking shit to other people and seeing if I can get fights like that, Ortega said. Fight scenario. UFC President Dana White made it clear through submission radio ahead of UFC 263. Although Brian Ortega failed to win the belt in the first title shot against then-champ Max Holloway, he returned to the octagon with his unanimous victory over Chan Sung Jung in October 2020. Initially, Ortega versus Volkanovski was set for UFC 260 back in March of this year, but Volkanovski being COVID-19 positive resulted in the postponement of the fight. It all started as both the fighters were serving as the rival coaches on TUF 29. Their intensity increased to an extent that they couldn't bear their hands and feet to talk with each other inside the octagon.
If you want to get on the fast track to not only becoming a star in the UFC, but becoming a world champion, you got to go through tough.
With that gold belt at stake, the main event of UFC 266 will be Jan Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira. Being undefeated in the UFC, Volkanovski always managed to impress since joining the division in 2016. Winning over the likes of Max Holloway twice, Jose Aldo, and Chad Mendes, his career is glittering.
Volkanovski has finished Chad Mendes.
Although the fight against the Blessed One was tough, he is looking forward to winning against the tough Ortega. He is pretty sure that fighting Ortega is not so easy, with only one career loss stopped by the doctors. It was after 4 tough rounds against the best boxer of the division.
There were a lot of people that doubted you going into this fight, but you showed a completely different version of yourself.
Volkanovski also expressed that he has always been a wild-paced fighter, but now the situation is different. Volkanovski also pointed at Ortega, admiring his chin and durability, but suggested that he would put Ortega to sleep ASAP. Preferring to finish him in the octagon, this title defense will definitely be a hard challenge for Volkanovski, considering KO, TKO as his priority in the matchup. Volkanovski also promised fight fans to put up a real show. Fight analysis. Considering Ortega's fighting style, he is one of the most challenging fighters inside the cage. Dominating fighting style, he is also a submission specialist. However, evolving in the matchup against the Korean Zombie, he also showed impressive stand-up skills, which Volkanovski has to be fearful of. Having no base fighting style, he was a rugby league player back in 2011, but is more of a wild, pacey fighter, being an expert in wrestling and, of course, kickboxing. Volkanovski focuses more on the tactical approach of the game, which makes him an intelligent and decisive fighter, having an orthodox stance. Records. Ortega has a brilliant MMA record, with a 15-1-0 no contest.
Dangerous standing and on the ground, he's on a totally different level.
Being a first-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, his achievements are undeniably impressive. On the other hand, Volkanovski has been undefeated in his UFC run, having an MMA record of 22-1-0. Prediction. Volkanovski is the favorite one to win the fight, while Ortega's win won't be much surprising. Whatever happens, it will be one of the best fights of this year at 145 pounds. That's enough for us today. Hope you liked this video. Make sure to subscribe to never miss any of our videos. Till then, goodbye.